Welcome. Welcome again. And for those that just subscribe to the channel, thank you. And those that will, thank you as well. I am Chaos right here. Today, focus and stream today is dealing with, I like to call the Prostitution edition of Jerking Off. This is the 4th volume of the one in acclaimed series that I've started back in 2019, I believe, and I had like roughly over 1,000 views. One of the very few many episodes I've done when I started doing live streaming on YouTube. Before podcasting, a couple years back, that started got my I would say more attention than many of the other broadcasts I've done so far on Chaos Reign channel on YouTube, especially. And if I do the count how many videos I have on Chaos Reign, since I never check myself. And it's funny because when you do videos, you don't keep track how many videos you put up on here. I think now I would say I'm pushing maybe close to 300, maybe. I could be wrong. But I'm just throwing a number out there. But nonetheless, this is the 4th edition of Jerking Off, or I like to call it Jerking Off, Volume 4. If you are new to this channel, make sure you hit the red button, the top bell. And when I mean the red button is the subscriber button, including the top notification bell when I do uploads or live streams here on the YouTube side of Chaos Reign channel. Also, you'll find this on Anchor, Spotify, and podcast eventually, shortly, in the coming days or maybe months. But nonetheless, I'm here. And one thing, because we are surely going into the summer, it's going to be a very hot summer this year in 2021. Not sure what to expect out of this summer, but the best is yet to come, unfortunately. Let me see what else I forgot here. Let me look. I'm just going through some things, then I will get started. One thing I never did mention to people is that with everything that's going around out here in regards to violence, physical violence in the streets, I never contemplate myself why there is, what's good, bro? There is so-called mass shootings, especially in America. And I always feel that mass shooting is a mental illness when it comes to the Western man in America. And as y'all know, you rarely see non-white males go out in schools or any environment just go up and just shoot the place. You don't see that. But I will say this. When the Columbine shootings were much filmed back in the end of the 20th century, I think late 90s, it started to draw attention to a lot of people. And those were young students at the time, mostly teenagers, roughly 14, 15 years of age and a little older. And it is very much not a good look when you see young present males go out and kill other males and females for a reason. And normally when Columbine shootings happen, normally it always goes back to, it's always related to some female. And, that's the culprit why a male, particularly a non-black male, aka Caucasian male, will go up and shoot the place on the average. But let's be honest. We look at 50 states in America, and I've heard from lovely women, ladies. I can't play the audio because I don't have it on this type of device. But she referenced that certain states across this country don't have very little action of male violence when it comes to mass shootings of any nature. And what she has said that in this particular region, I think particularly Amsterdam, the reason why they don't go out their way and the males go and shoot up and kill people is because they are able to have their fun with the ladies, the wonderful ladies, most likely their own race of women. And it hit me to know, saying, you know what, that might be the solution to the mass shootings here in America. Imagine that. Imagine that. Brothels, legalize prostitution, where the ladies will sit there, get on their knees, and suck the living bejesus out a man's dick until the man busts in her mouth, and then he was able to come to his senses with his, you know. And let's be honest, there's a lot of males in America, unfortunately, are not getting their dick sucked, not able to fuck this out of a woman of their choice that they get sexual aroused to release tension. Because let's be honest, most of the over-aggressive males are the ones that's by default not getting enough vagina in their lives. They're not getting enough sex. And I'm gonna say this personally, ladies. It's come down to the point that jerking off for the average male, not only in America, but just anywhere around the world, is not enough. It's not. They need once in a while to slip their phallus in between the legs of a woman. Or better yet, they get the mouth of a woman to suck him off, and then, he releases and comes to his senses to relieve all the tension and stress. So let's be honest. If there were legalized prostitution more across the United States, this would limit male aggression, male violence. Hell, it might even eliminate incel behavior. Oh, chaos. You say there will be less incels? Yes. 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 Because listen, most of the issues now we find in America now, a lot of these dudes that complain about getting pussy, not getting pussy, lack of pussy, is the reason why they go in a more animalistic aggression towards women. And we all know Caucasian males are known to be very more aggressive than anybody else. Don't be fooled about these so-called black males. No. Listen, either dude will get some pussy or not. Only thing he can do is sit there, complain, and bitch about it. And, sit on his laurel. But when it comes to other groups of men, other racial groups, aggression is always the end factor if they don't get what they want, especially if they're not getting enough sex in their life. Now, I remember the old man brought a woman in Canada, and she was doing research on the psychology of a lot of these incels. I'm trying to remember, guys, I forgot verbatim, that she knows that these dudes, on the average, and this is what I can remember, on the average, could be sexually awkward. Some either getting access to women or not getting enough access to women that they're sexually attracted to, and they take a more aggressive stance in regards to physical or deadly force when it comes to the population, to people, especially the opposite sex, females. And now looking forward now to today's present, and I always ask, is there brothels in Canada? Let's do a Google search and let's check for ourselves, shall we? All right. All right, let's look. Let's look if this is the one. All right. All right, let's look at this article. Let me share the screen for y'all. And I might leave links to this. And this is one link, people. Canadians are 5 times more likely to support than the opposite Canadian current prostitution legislation. And when was this written? This was written almost a year ago. And mind you, I just pulled this up to scroll through for yourselves, and I'm gonna go down. And there's only one article, so let's go into it. London on Montreal of New York, August 27, 2020. There was a poll. A new national poll conducted by Nano Research on behalf of the London Abuse Women's Center, LAWC, look that up. Concentration des lattes contre exploitation sexual, CLESS, I think that's French or something, and the Coalition Against Trafficking of Women, CATW, and collaborations with Canadian organizations reveal Canadian views on legislation approach of prostitution and other prostitution related issues, poll results and methodologies, and technical notes attachments. With the government of Canada announced that it will evaluate the impact of the 2014 Protection of Communities of Exploited Persona Act, enacting by addressing prostitution in Canada. The first national poll research prostitution will help ensure that the views of Canadians are represented, and evaluation help inform the process of help raise public awareness about Canadians' current legislation. The PCEPA addressed the system of prostitution by solely discriminating individuals who are bought and sold in prostitution, while holding accountable purchasers of sexual acts, sex buyers, promoters of prostitution, pimping, owners and managers and commercial sex establishments, brothels, eliciting massages, parlors, escort service, and other third-party exploiters. Now, I'm going to stop right a little briefer. If you notice lately that I think there was one incident with a Chinese place where this white man started shooting up the Chinese massage parlor. And the reason that goes out to that, from what has been heard of, or what has not been said, that, you know, the Asian woman likes to give a little extra favors, if you know what I mean, to their clients after they give them a nice massage, you know. And it goes more beyond a whack job. They sit there and, you know, will blow the hell and get their backs blown out by the clients for a little extra change, for a little thing. You see? Do you feel me? So, you know, since that man did not get that extra thing for a little thing, the man takes upon himself to go into the back of his trunk of his car to get his MR9 gun or AR-15 rifle, and goes in and begins to spray up the place, unfortunately. And, you know, the loss of life was very unfortunate. But it goes back again that majority of most males that go into massage bars, on the average, and we could say, not the majority, but on the average, they expect to pay a little extra to get their dick sucked by the Asian woman that rubs and caresses their backs. It comes with the territory, unfortunately. But for this man, he was unable to get his nuts off, to bust a nut. So he took his sexual aggression on them. And lo and behold, I don't know what happened to this man. I think he's doing time in jail. I believe so, but I know. But that's not a story. Let's go on. The poll results are interesting to Canadians and the government of Canada. 49% of Canadians support Canadian current prostitution legislations, which is almost five times more than those who are opposed by 11%. 46% of Canadians are more likely to support the current legislation as their preferred approach to address prostitution. This number is almost twice as many as the support prostitution as a legal profession, where there are no laws against prostitution, including pimping, brothels, owner operating sex buyers, and those of sex are selling sex. 24% are almost 3 times more than those supporting prostitution being illegal, and all those involved in selling sexual service being criminalized by 16%. 61% of Canadians agree that the federal and what they call provincial government should provide appropriate funding to organize workers with women in prostitution to provide long-term counsel and support service, which is almost 9 times more than those opposed, 7%. And 51% of Canadians disagree with approving of a family member to pay for sexual service, which more than 4 times more than those who agree, 12%. 43% of Canadians agree that if most women and people had valuable economic alternatives, they would not choose to engage in prostitution. This is more than 4 times more than those who disagree, 10%. When asked if prostitution should be viewed as a profession or job like any other profession or job, 34% of Canadians agree and 26% disagree. However, when asked to what extent Canadians support prostitution as a legal profession, with all active around prostitution, including sex purchase, selling sex service, pimping, trafficking, brothels, ownership, etc., being legal by 45% of Canadians were opposed, which is more than twice many of those who support 17%. And there's more into this. That's only one article. Let's stop sharing. And I'm probably gonna save this link here. So it seemed to me that it's not legalized in Canada, and that was 7 years ago. So if I go stroll down more, let's see if I'm right. Let's go down more. Yeah, it's illegal because there's a man growing of Canadians and discriminates sex work after. Let's see, after what? Let me check this one. Yeah, so sex is not prostitution is not legalized in Canada, from what I'm looking at this article. So I can conclude, come on, go further than that is illegal in Canada. And it goes to show that since it's illegal, that lady that was on the Old Man's channel was proven right that because that you're gonna have a rise of incel behavior in Canada. And we all know when incel behavior. Oh, you want me to share a link? Oh, yes, I'll certainly sure will. Hold on. I will do that now. And as y'all know, please share the stream if you can. But yeah, that's in Canada. And we all know anywhere where prostitution is illegal, you got to do things under the rug in regards to still get money for sex work. And mind you, y'all got to understand, sex work is not taxed. It's not taxed here in America, and I doubt it's taxed anywhere else. And it should not be because, let's be fair and honest, it is not a legal profession. Other states that it is legal, since we're going to legality of things, is in Nevada. Las Vegas, Nevada, in particular. How we know? Let's go back up. And Murray, the purpose of the stream is only focus on America in regards to the illegalization of prostitution addiction. And I remember there was a TV show that was, I'm not sure it was on a Playboy channel, but they talk about the Bunny Ranch in Nevada. That's the only state in this country that is legalized. And the reason for this is because, let's be fair, honest. Nevada is more of a rogue state. And you got to understand, in Nevada is the biggest resort of casinos. So obviously they making a whole bunch of money, which Nevada itself was funded in money by the Italians back in the 40s or 50s. So that's the only state in America that is legalized. And let me see if I can find, this is another article. And would y'all want to know more detail? Let's give the link here. And this is only a snippet. And I'll leave links to that as well. Here it goes. Nevada. Prostitution in Nevada. Nevada is the only state in the country that allows legalized, regulate brothels, but only in small rural counties comprised of 700,000 people or less. Towns and cities within these counties may choose to permit, regulate brothels, or prohibit sex trade altogether. Currently, 7 out of 16 counties have active brothels with a total of, and what is this? A total of 21 brothels. Prostitution is illegal in Las Vegas and Reno, where the vast majority of the sex trades occur. Let me see if my fingers. Okay. Because people misunderstand of the laws and the party's atmosphere of Las Vegas, this city and Nevada overall has more arrests annually than any other city of states in the United States or the US. Because the legal establishment are in competition with the illegal and untaxed paid sex that occurs in private residence or hotels rooms, Nevada's brothel are probably more expensive than just about anywhere on the planet. They also only exploit a tiny fraction of sex workers in the state since the barriers to entry is incredibly high, including criminal background checks, regular STI screenings, and often have to live at the brothel for certain periods of time, while a good labor option of women who qualify and hire a brothel. The state of the law in Nevada is not an ideal model for national decriminalization. So, to pause right here, this might be one of the reasons why, still in the United States, they have not taken a great step to legalize prostitution in America, because they're going by the one state, Nevada, as a good rubric of when prostitution and legalization doesn't go so well, which is fair, is right on point. But for the premise of this stream, we talk about legalized prostitution. Outside America, there's legalization, and the way how it's conducted is totally different from America, because America is very much, as it always been, very much this organized country. We do things very weird up here in America, if y'all did not know. So, but like I said, because of the rising tension of incel behavior in America in growing numbers, particularly non-Black people, Caucasian, and other racial groups, that is going to be a problem. And the reason why I say it's going to be a problem, because let's be fair, honest. When a person doesn't get efficient sex and nut busting, he becomes very much aggressive. He takes on that animalistic behavior where he now justify his behavior to go up and spray up the place, injuring people, damaging people, taking the lives of people. It gets very dirty when you think about it in the long term. That what you witness is just the pinnacle of what is to come, or what we see is going to be to come. And like many things, Everything is uncertain. Hold on. All right. I was just checking something, guys. So, like I said, legalization of prostitution in Nevada is shown. It's really telling. It is really telling, and like I said, because how how this country is going, it's going to come to a point where it's going to have to be evaluated. Nonetheless, um, we're going to go further on. Make sure you like the stream as well. I'm just going through some things. Huh. Huh. Interesting. Anywho, let's continue. In 2018, at Lionel County, ballots initiative gave voters the opinion to ban brothels in their county, but was overwhelmingly defeated. Prohibit what it called prohibitions activists also tried but failed to get a initiative on the ballot in NYE County in November of 2018 as well, roughly almost 3 years ago. Of the remaining 15 counties in the state, brothels are legal in approximately 10 counties. This law is far from ideal because prostitution is legal only within the confines of a small number of licensed establishments. The brothel of any county over 700,000 is banned. Used to be 200,000. It could go either way, with existing brothels owners getting brothels legal in the two big counties. People still get arrested in small counties if not individually licensed or work at unlicensed establishments. And that's another article, which I will probably put in this description as well. So let me stop sharing. And that is in the county of Nevada. So that's one of the reasons why every state hasn't really gone out the way to now look into and legalize it in all 50 states. But I'll tell you what has happened in Washington, D.C. And I'm not sure how long ago this was, but let me pull it up. Oh, no. Wait, that's not it. Let me find it again. Okay. Yeah, this is the one. And this was, I'm not sure when this was posted. Let me see. This is from the New York Times. All right, so let's look at this one. And if y'all have any comments, please leave your comments either in the chat room or at the end of this stream, your thoughts and opinions. I will leave the links to these things. It shows here that in the Washington, a fight to decriminalize prostitution divides allies. And the support says a bill being considered by the District of Columbia Council would protect prostitution in the national capital. Critics say it would be a boom to sex trafficking. And what I mean by sex trafficking, and as you see, I'm not sure why they have a woman here of color here. Her name is Tina Fraudent, a abandonment opposed to a bill that will decriminalize prostitution in Washington. She founded Courtney House, a nonprofit group that works with children who were forced into sex trafficking. So you see, this is the only woman that's trying to oppose it. This was updated. Look at the date, people. October the 18th, 2019. Now, before I go into this, and I'm gonna put a video that I talked about this months ago, that they were looking into this for the past 2 years. I believe Congressman, now Vice President Kamala Harris, was in the same conversation about this when they were asking if when she was running for president back in 2019 about legalized prostitution. I'll leave a link to that video where you could watch for yourself. Matter of fact, I do some better. I'll link the link of that article for y'all to look for. This was a process being looked about and talked about for the last only 2 years, maybe 3. So when people don't really understand that this has been a working process, and I'm going to conclude why they now look into legalizing prostitution now in America in pretty much every state, not just Nevada and New York, but every state, because this country, let's be honest, is broke. Yes, I said it. It's broke. We're running on credit right now, which the interest rate now is no longer 0. I think it's now 1 now for the last 13 years since 2008 crash. And this country needs to find ways to still drive revenue and money and taxation on pretty much everything. Let's go further. If y'all notice about legalization of weed, that's been a process that they were always going to legalize, just like alcohol, tobacco, for the last 70 or 80 years. And the purpose why they always step front now to start legalizing anything is to show the economy and how much the money is being recirculated into this economy. And for their own records, because they do numbers every 10, every year, wherever, every quarter, they always check how much money is being pumped back into here since they're getting free money from the Fed. And they could surely see that certain things that's illegal, they're making money in the black markets, in the underground. And they know it's going to be a time, which is eventually soon, to make this a reality. You gotta give me a second. I gotta get this out before I start sharing the stream. Let's be fair, honest. Legalization of commodities was always here. I want people to understand. You gotta understand is this: how far are they gonna be legalizing anything? That should be the determinant factor. You get me? And I want people to understand and hear me well that most things that's legalized is something that the system decides to legalize when the time comes. They always had the bills presented, written out days, years in advance. Certain things that's presented to Congress and other big heads in higher governments. It is only then when they decide to say, all right, it's time to roll this type of bill and sign with a stroke of the pen. So keep that in mind. Nothing is automatically being constructed. It's always been here. They just find the right time and place and right year to draw it out, depending on how the economy is going. So let's continue, and we're going to go into this. Washington, Tamika Spellman, who is who is in her 50s, has worked as a prostitution since she was 14 years old. So she was sex trafficking. Okay. The job, she said, is the most stable work she has had and helped put her son through college. She has grown tired of people's moral qualms about what she does for a living, of police harassment and of dangers of the work. But she has done more than stew about it. Instead, Miss Spellman is one of the archetypes of a bill before the District of Columbia Council that would make it the first American city to decriminalize prostitution, placing the national capital or nation's capital at the forefront of a growing movement that seeks to permit the activities of prostitution, as well as pimps and johns, and to allow what they call bordellos, or what they call bordels. Prostitution in the United States is legal only in a few counties in Nevada, which has about 20 legal brothels, which I read earlier. You'll get that in the description. At the initial hearing on Thursday, more than 150 people or 150 people, many of them currently are former sex workers, gave radical different opinions about whether decriminalization would cause prostitutes greater harm. Some wore t-shirts and said sex workers deserve housing, not handcuffs. Well, I have a tune for that. This is what most of them, since they feel so kindly about the way, I have something for that, sweetie. And it goes like this. Hold on. Wait, no, matter of fact, I ain't gonna play it. I ain't gonna play it. Matter of fact, I will play it. This is what they belong to. She belongs to the streets. Yeah, that marks it. So, like I said, that's what happens. But anyway, the proposed is dividing the city progressive communities, putting some women groups against advocates for sex workers. Some prostitutes who have been sex trafficking find themselves on the other side from sex workers who have not been, but all sides agree that prostitution's practice openly would reverberate well beyond the city thriving, but shadowy sex industries of sex prostitution managers or massage parlors, stripper clubs, and high-end call girls. I mean, if prostitution is legal, the strippers are going to be not only getting access to a group of men that are letting it rain, or letting that money go like the cashier office, but they're gonna sit there. You're gonna see them start lap dancing, grinding, and be sucking the hell out a man's dick very soon. Trust me on this. Prostitutes will most likely work openly out of homes and neighborhoods across the city. Certain blocks could become de facto red light district, like Detroit. And policing strategies would have to change so officers could distinguish pimps from sex traffickers. And trust me, police know who's doing the pimping and who's not. Don't be fooled, people. Do not be fooled. Miss Spellman, a transgender woman and activist, has worked for more than 2 years with Councilman David Grusso, an advocacy group in the city, to try to marshal support for legalization. Violence against sex workers have made it critical for lawmakers to do something radical to try to protect them. Mr. Grusso says at Thursday's hearing, the criminalization approach has fallen, or actually, approach has failed, he said. That's a picture of this man. But Sarah Smith, 21, who said she had been trafficked as an 18-year-old, said normalizing prostitution would make it far more difficult for the police to find people being exploited. This bill will make it nearly impossible for victims like me to get justice, she said. For the council, 13 members have signed on a co-sponsor support, saying the bill version of which has recently made little headway in New York State, San Francisco, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and elsewhere, is the only effective way to combat sex trafficking. They said that only when every aspect of prostitution among counts consenting adults is made legal will prostitution feel secure enough to report criminal activity, including court, what they call coercion and abuse by pimps or sex buyers without fear of arrest. It is an outdated law based on moral outrage. Miss Spellman, 52, a longtime advocate for sex workers, said about existing prohibitions and prostitution. Why are they arresting people for having casual sex? I understand the need to protect people, and there are people being exploited, but not in the numbers that people think. So this man is a transgender. So this man, by default, now that going through the article itself, I guess he falls in the LGBTQ arena, and he was used as a male prostitute to be having intercourse with other males. All right. So if y'all notice from this article so far, it seemed to me is men pushing for this. I'm not sure if it's transgender men pushing, but nonetheless, men are pushing for this. I don't see much input of ladies so far in this article, but I could be wrong. I know there are some women that's in the streets or for the streets that don't mind prostitution being legalized because, or actually, my fault. Some might have a problem with that because let's be honest, if it's legalized, that means they're gonna be taxed. Think about My Fans Only, people. I did streams on My Fans Only. And oh hey Kai. And you know what I do? I will probably will give commentary and open up for people the questions and the inputs in a few minutes. So bear with me, be patient. It's coming. Let's go further. Let's go continue with the article. Critics counters that the initiative is promoting a narrative that is dangerously false. They said the criminalization would exacerbate the sex trade, worse abuse because it would increase demand for prostitution. That they say would force even younger girls into prostitution and make it difficult for law enforcement to detect sex trafficking cases because citizens might call 911 less frequently if prostitution is legal. Yes, but here's the problem. The age of consent in America, on the average, and I remember Mr. Igmore told me, and it's hard to find that article, but there is some information that say the legal age of consent in America was 12 years old. But we all know in most states in the country, they still go by 16 and over. Most states is mostly 17 and other states is 18. So we roughly the range in America, we look at roughly close to 17 point something is the average age of consent across the board in America. The legal consent for a young girl, not young adult, young girl to have sex with another person. All right, let's go on. Opponents have also spoken darkly about the national capital or nation's capital becoming a destination for sex tourism. Well, and y'all know sex tourism is a billion-dollar industries or multi-million. And we all know the sex trafficking is roughly almost close to $250 billion. Need I say more? Let's go on. This bill is a sex trafficking dream, said Yasmin Vava. I think I pronounced it. Yasmin Vava, executive director of Rights for Girls, a Washington-based human rights organization that seeks to end violence against girls and young women. This will cause more harm and more exploitations of our most marginalized people. Girls have told us they heard about the bill for the first time from their pimps who were excited about it. Stupid. If you get excited, you're gonna be taxed if they legalize this. See, the problem going through this information, a lot of males, I'm not sure if it's mostly non-black males or black males in Pacific, don't understand information is the problematics. If this is legalized, you're gonna have to report to somebody, the IRS, the government, Big Brother, all this stuff, on how much money you make it a month, a year. Do you really want that partner? I always say this: when things are legal, you're going to be taxed, and we all taxation is the greatest robber of wealth. Let's continue. Hope that was clear to y'all. Where was I? If pimps and sex buyers are on the same side of the legislative proposal, doesn't that say something to the other supporters? It does. Group supports the decriminalization, including ACLU, Black Lives Matter, all this other stuff, World Health Organization, opponents including the National Organization for Women, World Without Exploitation, yada yada. You catch the drift. Let's go down. The two sides speak about prostitution in very different terms. For supports, sex works for adults can be valuable, well-compensated professions that is generally free of exploitation. Pimps are referred to as managers, and violence is uncommon. They argue that laws forbid what they call bordellos means that prostitutes are unable to have casual sex with clients in the safety of their own homes. Miss Spellman, who says she does not have a pimp and handle her own business affairs, and says pimps and managers serve a vital role from providing security and transportation to arranging appointments and dealing with childcare. If the issues people have about pimps is that they are benefiting from other people's labor. Don't they have managers who do that at McDonald's? She said. Yes, they do. For opponents, however, prostitution cannot be separate from exploitation. This is an incredible violent industries and harmful industries, said Lauren Harsh, National Director of the World Without Exploitation. That ends this article. And I'll probably look at one more article, but I hope this is being clear. And let's be clear about this, about the pimp factor. They only say this because they're still being controlled and run by a male-dominant organization or male-dominant profession, which is, pimps, brothels, etc. That's run by men on the average. And that's why a lot of women, young women, wherever age they are, especially over the age 18, don't like this, because that means it gives them a wage, which they're going to be taxed, because the pimp's going to be taxed. So he has to make his bottom dollar overall. So this will not benefit them if they're being under another group of men. So, but let's say it was a woman running things. You would not see no issues with this. I'm just being dead honest with y'all. I'm just keeping it real. Anyway, we're going to look at one more article. Then I'll see if anybody's available for opening up. And this one deals with the New York. And after this article, I'm going to give my so-called solution to this. All right, perfect. We're up. So let's share this. Let me get rid of this. All right, close ads. Oh, damn it. All right, sorry about that, guys. Okay. The new bill would decriminalize support sex workers in New York City. This was posted back in January 2021. A new bill that would decriminalize sex work in New York while still holding pimps and buyers accountable. It's set to be introduced in the state Senate this week. The Post has learned that Senator Liz Crugen, D. Manhattan, who is slated to announce the bill Monday morning, create the legislation with the assistance of sex trade survivor and advocate who want to make sure workers are given help instead of jail cells. Get it? Finally, we are recognizing that the sex trade is not a safe place for our community. And we are recognizing that surviving is not enough. Christian Eduardo, a sex and labor trafficking survivor who helped create the bill, told the Post, this bill was created by listening and believing in survivors. That is what the amazing part of this is. The other space, a lot of times survivors of sex trade, survivors of human trafficking, survivors of prostitution, they are not listening to. We need to write the change in the criminal justice system, and how to achieve that in the policy way is by listening to survivors. The bill is inspired by the equality model, which aims to decriminalize people in prostitution while still keeping buying sex, sex trafficking, and brothel owning illegal. That's what it said it's opposed to do in New York. But we all know once you legalize this, all this other nonsense, brothels, sex trafficking, are going to still be prevalent. Remember, the sex trafficking industry makes almost $250 billion. That money is not going to stop if you legalize prostitution. I want people to be clear and understand this well. Let's go on. This is contrast to complete decriminalization, which would greenlight all aspects of the sex trade. Kruger, who've been working on the issue for over a year, so this is going on over a year, going back to 2019, they were talking about this back in 2 years ago, said that vast majority of people who enter the trade are young people of color who sell their bodies out of coercion or economic desperation, not because they want to. I think the real issue is we don't want to have throwaway people, and so many of the young people I spoke to feel like they've been thrown away, and no one cares if they spend their life in a form of slavery. Kruger told the Post, we want to make sure that instead of criminal penalties and jail, we are providing health care, mental health care service to get them out of life and into better options for themselves. Generation of young people lives, generations of young people's lives are being destroyed when we could be helping them. True. What the hell is this thing about makeup? All right. Okay, I'm trying to figure out where I was at. That thing just messed me up. Hold on, guys. I think the real issue is we don't want. Okay. All right. I think the real issue is we don't want to have throwaway people, and so many of the young people I spoke to feel like they've been thrown away, and no one cares if they spend their life in a form of slavery. Kurgan told the Post, or Kroger, we want to make sure that instead of criminal penalties, the jail, we are providing health care, mental health care service to get them out of the life and into better options for themselves. Generations of young people's lives are being destroyed when we could be helping them. Alex Mayers, an attorney with Secretary, or actually, yeah, Sanctuary for Families who helped write the legislation, said the bill addressed a number of problems plaguing those in the sex trade and those who left. It includes broader access to social service and shield against a promoting prostitution charges for those currently in the trade. And we prohibit the use of condoms and evidence in criminal trials. Okay. It would also expurge every single prostitution and loitering charges currently on the books without the need to apply. And it's called for other crimes committed by trafficking survivors at the benefit of their exploiters to be expunged. The bill would also strengthen trafficker laws by eliminating a loophole that prevents perps from being charged with promoting prostitution if they traffic people to themselves, and has stronger protection for kids. Currently, John, who buys sex from kids under the age of 15 or from anyone under the age of 18 in a school zone, are allowed to use ignorance defense claims that they both don't know the kids was underage. Current bill would do away with that while also creating new ways to target sex buyers. We absolutely know that sex buyers drive the demand for the industry, and that if a sex buyer ceased to exist, you would have pimps. You wouldn't have exploitation because they wouldn't be a market, or there wouldn't be a market, said Mayers, who is married to a late night host, Seth Mayers. While the bill wouldn't lessen the crime and patronizing a prostitute, it would target buyers with deeper pockets by creating an income-based face scale with fines up to $50K instead of jail time, which most John are already unlikely to see the misdemeanor offense. The bill would also extend the new protection to workers in illicit massage parlors. Currently, they are often arrested and charged with unlicensed practice of a profession, even if they are there against their will under Krugen bill. If police suspect evidence of exploitation, cops would be required to immediately reference the person to a service provider instead of cuffing them. Bergen admits the bill is controversial because there is a large coalition of people who wants prostitution to be completely decriminalized. So let's pause right there. Remember I said earlier in the broadcast, we have a large growing rise of incelism in America. And not only America, but outside America too, in Canada or any part of the United States, specifically. And as you know, with the rise of incelism, you see the rise of more aggressive violence, i.e., shootings, either from a school or other places where aggression has to be taken when a man does not bust a nut. Unfortunately. But I digress. And I'm gonna tell you in a second after I finish reading this. Because there is a large coalition of people who want prostitutes to be completely discriminated, which I read, and in its direct competition with legislation introduced by Senator Julian Salazar of Brooklyn and Ambassador Richard Gotfield D. Manhattan in 2019. Remember, go back to 2019. I said they were talking about this 2 years ago. Salazar and Gottfried wants all aspects of sex trade to be completely legalized so sex workers can be free to do business safely without them or their clients fear arrest, they said previously they're against aspects of equality model because they feel penalties against sex buyers just push the trade further into the underground. By Courage argues that their bill has been sitting in committees for 2 years and isn't as likely to pass as here. And this is her. And that's the end of all this. I'll leave that in the description. And now, yes, I see the chat room is very active. Welcome. Solutions to get this out the way now. And let me check how much time I have on here. Well, okay, I did an hour. Good, excellent. I'm gonna say this. This is going to happen regardless what people think or feel about this. And when it does happen in every state, you're going to see a different market like no one has ever seen before in America. I think with this bill being passed in New York, if it's already been passed already, because this was happening like in January, and there's some other articles that talk more about this, that I see the chain of prostitution going to be very much known and a common thing in America, where now a man, if he has a little money in his pocket, $40 here and there, he can get his dick, suck off, and come to his senses without no prosecution. Now, regards to underage children and all this stuff, I've suggested what they're going to probably do, or I would say they could possibly do. But that's another story. But anywho, I'm going to leave now the floor for people to give their comments, their questions to what has been said. Now, this is the comment question section of this stream podcast. And after this, I will give so-called solutions. This should be interesting. Oh yeah, and if y'all new to the channel, please subscribe, hit the red button, hit the top bell. The subject of this topic is Jerk Off Volume 4, Prostitution Edition. Okay. I see one. Welcome, the great liberator himself, Agent Smith himself, Amir Brown. Can you hear me?
What's up, man? You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you good. Wonderful. Yes. Did you get all what I've read clear enough to understand of the gist of the
I was at work, so I was getting off, so I had to some of it I didn't hear, but I heard most of it, I think.
Okay.
So does it sound like what they decriminalizing prostitution or something?
Well, that's the next step now that's been talked about since 2019 when they asked Senator Kamala Harris. I did a stream on that months ago, and now I hear that they did legalize it in New York. I could be wrong. I gotta find an article on that, but this has been talked about since January. So they've been focused on legalizing prostitution in America, but they didn't find the right time when to do it. But now, because of how the economy is and the direction of the rise of incelism, all that stuff from non-blacks, particularly, and the shooting, that this is probably the next step now to pipe down.
So they're saying that that these mass shootings are due to incels?
No, the mass shootings, if you look at it, and this goes back to two ladies that were talking about why in certain sections of the states you don't see a lot of male aggression in regards to them taking violence with a gun, because they have a way to release. You know what I'm saying? And we all know that there's many ways a man could release besides releasing his seed. But we all know, most men overall, they don't do most activities to.
I don't think it's that though. I don't think that's what's fueling like these. Is that one of Jordan Peterson's talking points, that the reason why you predominantly see white males doing mass shootings is because they're incels? That's what he says.
I don't know. I don't really know much of Jordan Peterson. I don't really listen to him per se. If he did,
I think that may be. Yeah, I think that may be his talking point. But no, I think what ultimately what you're seeing when you see these mass shooters that typically are white males, it has a lot to do with the idea that they're no longer, they're losing their position as the preeminent male in the country, not
Mm-hmm.
just along the lines of socio-sexual power, but
Mm-hmm.
socioeconomic power as well. Like they're not even the top paid uh,
Mm-hmm.
demographic, and shout out to Ramil, dumbass. He's the one who really highlighted that. I ain't believe him at first, but he was right on that part. So, I mean, a broken clock is right twice a day. You know what I'm saying? So,
Okay.
but I think a
Okay.
lot of that has to do that this with the fact that this isn't their father's America anymore. I'm saying.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
ultimately that's why you're seeing a lot of that mass violence and stuff. I don't think it's necessarily because they're not getting their rock. You know what I mean? At least I would imagine. I think that's probably a way for them to 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 distract from the issue of race. Like if to be honest with you,
Mm-hmm.
I see Jordan Peterson as very much in the vein of a white racist. Just to be honest with you, I mean, if I look at hangs around, like he hangs around several other white public figures that I suspect of being white supremacists.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that has a lot. I think that has more to do with it than the fact that these people are involuntarily celibate. I think it has more to do with the fact. See, it has more to do with the fact that they're white men are born with a certain entitlement in this country,
Mm-hmm.
and then now when you grow up, and now you look, and you know. You're finding that that's not necessarily the case, that America is no longer your oyster. It's no longer the white man's paradise. It's become much more diverse, multicultural, multi-ethnic. There's a lot more competition out here because they're not just up against black men. They're up against these other groups of black men. You know what I'm saying? And then when you look at how they're able to amalgamate these other subgroups into the white Borg, so to speak, I think ultimately they're threatened just from that alone, man. So I don't know. I don't know if I would put it on involuntarily celibate.
Okay. 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 That's another way of looking at it. I find it very interesting that for them to roll this out now at this time. I mean, that's another last ditch effort just for the sake of conversation. Because let's be honest, out here in the West, there's a lot of distractions. You get me? And because their position overall is slipping, they're gonna still be aggressive regardless. You get me? I would say this is more for those that don't take the aggressive route. That there's other ways for them to release some form of tension. And like I said, most Americans nowadays, they want leisure and comfort. You get me? Overall, so
Right.
they do this overall just to relieve the tension and to even create more distraction. That's how I look at it. But we have Jay Shine on the panel. What's good, Jay Shine? Welcome, brother.
What's going on, Chaos? What's up, Mary?
What's up, man? What's going on?
Shit, nothing. I actually, I agree with you 80%.
Hmm.
Mary,
Okay.
I agree with you 80%.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Most, what the acting out is the racist nonsense that goes on with them. But the reason why a lot of these young dudes latch on to white nationalism, though, is because of being an outcast, being a loner, of sorts.
Uh-huh.
Outcast. So, like, I give you a quick example. You're not going to
Okay.
convince me that Elliot Rodgers, if he got head for 15 minutes from an average looking girl the day
Hmm.
before, he wouldn't carry those killings out.
Yeah, he wouldn't have carried that. You right on that because I remember he was talking about they want these black dudes, these big. He
Yeah,
was mad. Yeah, he was
and
mad about
he
that.
also shot a white boy, at a white boy who's getting, we've never seen a stud go out here and commit mass murders. You know what I mean?
This is true. This is true.
Unless they were outright, part of a racist group carrying out a racist mission. It's some turn diary type stuff. You know what I mean? But just these guys, these young boys, they don't really belong to no groups. They probably might be in some racist chat rooms, or they might be in some alt-right, message boards and all that, because that's where they get to feel belonging. They get to go in there and feel powerful and talk shit on black people and call us monkeys and all kinds of stuff, right? This is what they do in their little manospheres, right? And I absolutely agree with you 100% on Jordan Peterson. All right. So I wish brothers would stop quoting him. I mean, it turns my stomach when I see, like if I ever get a chance to talk to MTR or Kevin or anybody, you know what I mean? Matter of fact, I might text O'Shea tonight and throw this on his mind. I need to stop bigging up Jordan Peterson. He is not saying anything from a red pill perspective that no man, no black comedian, no black man in the manosphere, or you know what I mean, or no man has said back in the 80s. He's not saying anything new. Right? He's, you know what I mean? He's just giving new terminology, and he's a new wave. So he's somebody who's popular for white boys. But trust me, he wants to institute patriarchy again, but not for us. He wants white patriarchy back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't see him debating no black females. You don't see him debating no Asian females. He going after no white women. That's his problem.
They want to control that white pom pom, man.
Jason, it's excellent mention, because I don't watch Jordan Peterson. I've been hearing about him flowing around this space and other sections, but when I look at what he's saying, it's not really nothing new in anything. To be fair, honest. So that's why I was never.
And he's Canadian, Chaos. He's Canadian.
Oh, so he's not even American. So
no, he's Canadian. So that feminist shit in Canada is crazy. Canada is like a big ass California / Oregon. With the laws, you know what I mean? How you got white women up there. See, these are the white women that call in Kevin's show. Remember Canada Dry, and there's another white woman that just called in the other night. They come from Canada. These are white feminists, because that's what the country is. And they got these feminist laws where these women are just so entitled, and you know what I mean, and it's choking the men. So now you start to see mass shootings where? In Canada. So that's what I'm saying, Mary. There is a sexual component to it, but I agree with you 80%. Why? Because the undergirding issue is that they feel like they're white men that's out of power, and they want to reconstruct their patriarchy, but they want a white male patriarchy.
And everybody else under them, like it. They're back to their father's America and shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Back to the days of old.
With that.
The days of old. Yeah. They probably having torch marches right now.
Yeah, where they can run to our women, but we can't touch theirs. That type shit.
Yeah.
And
she was in pocket. Matter of fact, it was a Canadian that went viral. I think this happened in Canada, where a white boy was cursing at a black man in a car, calling him nigger in a car, right? And the black dude was recording him, and the white boy walked right to his window, was damn near inside his car, and the white boy had a white woman in the car, Mary. And the white woman yelled at him, say, "Come on, let's just go. That white boy turned around to her and said, "Shut up and be a woman." And turned right around and commits to calling that black dude a nigga. See, what white women don't understand is that with white nationalism and hardcore racism and white patriarchy also comes those ass whoopers they used to get.
Oh, facts. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Them ass whoopers they used to get come back too. Okay, because that's when they were hanging us and whipping us, they were whooping her ass too.
Right.
Because they was about
we brought
the
control. And see that's hold on, Cass. Let me add, then I'm gonna be quiet. That's what we felt the brunt of their microaggressions because of that insecurity of the BBC. You know what I'm saying? And that reptilian brain shit. So yeah, you're right. Like they would inflict more persecution on black men and white women because they didn't want that. They didn't want them connecting. That white male insecurity is where that aggression stems from.
And that's what ghetto gags is all about.
Yep.
Ghetto gags is that's what ghetto gags is about. It's not sex, it's violence.
Right.
It's violence being masked as porn.
Right.
It's violence being masked.
It's the most degraded, most aggressive form of porn you could know. And that's why when dudes talk about it, and a lot of us hear that and they get cringe and they don't like it, but it's the honest truth. No other sexual aggression you see but that. If
Nah,
you
actually,
you know,
just to let you know, Chaos, there's some hardcore porn on Europe
yeah.
that I don't think these people are touching. I mean, you haven't seen it yet.
Oh,
If you get a chance to get over
okay.
it, these people into some shit, and it's got nothing to do with race. It's just they just on some let the bodies hit the floor type sex. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Shit is
Yeah, right.
Mosh Pit hub. You know, it's not even porn hub. It's Mosh Pit hub.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you know, yeah. But I just want to throw that out there, man. We ain't everybody ain't seen it all. There's some weird shit going on out here in Europe.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I know that. I know that. Yeah, man. But like I said, with the aggression of these people, I just only laid this out because when I heard conversations from sisters about the shooters and all that, it made me think say, they slowly starting to legalize it, not like officially. Besides Las Vegas, Nevada is the only state in this country that's legalized, and even them they're trying to petition to cease the legalization. And
But it's not legalized all over the state. It's
no,
legalized.
it's only on one state, but they were trying to fight to unlegalize it.
You gotta have you have to. It's like a liquor license. You gotta have a license, and there's only so many brothels that could be allowed, and so it's strictly controlled. So it's legal to a certain extent, but you know who's gonna get those licenses, right?
Yeah.
You know who gets to be a pimp in America, not us.
Oh yeah, they're the big ones. Yeah.
They get to be daddy. Remember Candyland? They get to be daddy. That's where the word daddy comes from.
Yeah.
You know, white daddy. So, Mary, I'm gonna ask you a question, bro. What do you think?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Do you think prostitution should be legal and legalized?
Yeah, I think it should be legalized but regulated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because people are gonna do it anyway.
It's gonna be regulated. Anything legalized,
people gonna do it anyway, man. I mean, what two consenting, willing adults want to do, they should be able to do, even if it's a financial transaction involved. You know what I'm saying? Aside from like murder, like check this out. Like y'all was just talking about, like just the violent porn. There was these two white dudes. They be in all types of shit. And so he put up, like, he was like in those message boards, 4chan shit. And so he put up a ad talking about he wanted somebody to eat him alive. You know what I'm saying? And so the guy responded to the ad, and they carried that shit out, man. And
oh my god,
yeah, and they did it. They recorded it. So the guy who recorded it, when the authorities became aware of it, because he posted it to the internet. So when the authorities became aware of it, they went and ran up on him. And he actually thought he was gonna be able to get out of going to jail because the guy consented to it. And they had a videotape where throughout the whole process the guy was, like going along with it, but it wasn't just the cannibalistic part, but it was homoerotic too. Like they be in all types of weird, crazy shit, man. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Two white boys, crazy as cat shit. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, aside from that, I think it should be legalized but regulated.
Mm-hmm. I think Art has a question. Art, you can come up if you have time, Art. But to answer the question that Art wrote in the chat, how do you regulate it?
I can answer that. It's legal over here. It's legal in Europe. So all they got to do is follow, what's sort of been tried and true. You know what I mean? The women have to pay taxes and all kinds of stuff. And actually, you know what? I think they did a trial run, if you think about it. Because remember, they threw those PPP loans out there, right? But they were able to track them. You know what I mean? They were able to track them, and now hold people accountable. And you add that with the fact with these vaccines and vaccine cards, all the different stuff they're playing with right now. Peep game. It's not going to be hard to regulate it. In fact, all you got to do is penalize people for not following the rules heavily. And and that's what the feminists are trying to get ahead of. See, if they do legalize prostitution, they want it on their terms, where it could be the same way they are in relationships, where they have the upper hand, where they have all the privileges.
That's not going to happen. And let me tell you why. Because they already got everything ready, and they're doing this because of the economic situation in America overall. So if the feminists,
I don't know, man. I don't know. We live in a country that's corrupt. Chaos. Think about it.
I know. It's corrupt.
California created a law where you couldn't, You couldn't, pass on an STD to somebody. And then when all these rich white boys started having AIDS, they took the law away. You see what I'm saying? They do what they want to do in America. That's the problem with America. America's got this 50 state shit. You see what I'm saying? Every state has its own goddamn, constitution and state rights. So, there is going to be a challenge of regulating this shit, especially with something like this, because this is commerce. This would be considered commerce. And commerce is a big problem for the American government because that's how the insurance game is all messed up. And they argue over insurance policies and all that because when you start talking about, moving money across state lines, you hear those. You hear congressmen and senators saying that a lot. That's what's getting Matt Gaetz in trouble right now. The Mann Act when Jack Johnson was in fighting. So just him having a white woman in his car going across state lines, that was against the law. Because you know what I mean? So these are the things that the laws are always going to be, they're not going to be solid. If you get it right the first time, there's nothing stopping it from changing in 5 years, 6, 7 years from the time the first law comes along. You know what I mean? And it's just going to be chaotic. But it can be done if it's done, one, at the federal level, and two, there's penalties for the prostitutes. Right now, they're trying to criminalize prostitution by not holding the prostitutions accountable. You see what I'm saying? So they're already on the wrong track. All right. Yeah. They still want to hold Johns accountable, solicitors accountable, but they don't want to hold the prostitutions accountable. You know what I mean? So right now it's with a feminist tilt. You know what I mean? To not have any accountability for women in this regard. So if it does get legalized, I think it's going to be hard to really hold them accountable with that being the way they're going about it now. But if they held the prostitutions accountable like they do over here, where you have to get tested, you have to you gotta pay taxes. They don't play around over here. Then it'll be fine. But I just got a feeling the women are gonna find some fucking way to wiggle out of that shit, and it's gonna ruin it. It's gonna go right back to being, they're gonna find some kind of way to hold the men accountable.
Yeah. My thinking, because Art put this, how they gonna tax it, like everything, the taxation also with the police and stuff, that's always gonna be an ongoing process, until they find something that is feasible, dealable. I think I read earlier they said they're going as far as slapping a $50,000 fine. You get me? But it goes back again that they're trying to figure out how the states could benefit this before anything else. Now you're right. The feminists will step in and try and make it a little harder, because let's obvious, if a man could sit there and pay $40 for a chick for a night, I mean, he doesn't really have to invest more time in you to date you, do all this other course. He just goes straight to say, I just want the sex, and if I can't get it by not lying or keep it real, you turn me down, I go over there and just go pay for it and just keep it pushing. So this can't hurt for some some women.
They don't have a lot of incels running around Germany or Amsterdam.
That's what I'm saying. The incel thing, and like Amir said, it's different. It's always about power. I agree. Everything's always about power, because with these people, they think in dominance. You know what I'm saying? They control the woman, they control the resource, they control the dollar, and they say you can have none of this unless I allow you to get some of this.
The only thing they argue about over here is the biggest fights is, of course, taxes, right? Because they got socialism over here, so paying these outrageous taxes, and then also the feminist shit. There's a pushback against feminism, in Europe, right now, and that's why it's like, we're so fucking behind the times in America, and we hold on to antiquated, outdated stuff. Everybody else is trying to get back to doing traditional families again and leveling the playing field. Even the women over here are pushing. Some women over here are pushing back against feminism, because it's got way out of control. You know what I mean? And now they see the outcomes of it, and also everybody looks at America and see what's happening in America, and see how the family is falling apart. Civility is falling apart. You know what I mean? They see how out of control the women are. How disrespectful the women are. I mean, over here they have a Labor Day, right? Okay. And it's a Labor Day. I mean, when I first got over here in Germany in 2018, now once they was closing the last coal mine, because they're getting rid of dirty coal, right? They closed the last coal mine. It was a big ass celebration. Amiri, they had a parade. The women were out there celebrating the workers. You know what I mean? Et cetera, et cetera. Same thing. Father's Day just passed over here. They take the day off. It's a holiday.
Oh wow!
You know what I mean? Yeah, so they still value. You know what I mean? The fraternal component to the family. Yeah. They don't value fraternal component in America. And what's weird about it is that America, the men in America, for all lack of term purposes, are still really doing their job. What I mean is, American men maintain infrastructure. The roads are built, the bridges are up, AC is flowing, sewers are clean, waterways are clean. You know what I mean? The men are doing their job. You know what I'm saying? So who's not doing their job? You see what I'm saying? So the world sees that, and they don't want no parts of it because they seeing what's happening. The mass shootings, the depression amongst the kids, the incel behavior. They see what's happening in America, and it's not just boys. We got female incels out here too.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So they seeing the breakdown of the family and what's going on in America. And and they know what's going on. They see what's happening. They don't want that shit happening. They don't want their youth and their men getting angry and running up in their capital and you know what I mean, they don't want none of that shit over here. You know what I mean? So they see what's going on and they're like, nah, we good. We're gonna work this out. And the good thing is they do have legal prostitution over here. So a hoe can be a hoe.
Right.
We don't got no backdoor hoeing over here. No backdoor hoeing. You gonna be a wife. You could be an independent woman, or you could be a hoe. You got choice.
Right. One thing I would say about the hoeing aspect. This is what my view about this. Listen good.
She belongs to the streets.
Yes.
Well, they don't have that problem over here. They just don't. I mean, and the young women over here, they promiscuous, they're young, but they're on birth control at 16. That's a normal thing over here. They don't turn up pregnant. So it's one thing about, it's not about having a different lifestyle. It's just about wanting different outcomes. And the one thing I would say about the men over here that I respect, that I don't respect about us, is that they have standards over here. Right? Yeah. I mean, they have standards over here. And the women know it. So they practice, they're very, responsible. With they don't just turn up pregnant and and all that kind of stuff. They don't have high abortion rates because that would be our problem too. So, they pop their pills, take their shot, whatever. You know what I mean? They stay on top of that and they don't turn up pregnant, just like a prostitute don't. Prostitutes don't turn up pregnant. You know what I mean?
That's bad for business.
Yes, exactly. They try and get that paper. They can't keep going through that. That vag needs to stay open 25 days a week, 5 days for the cycle.
Wow.
I'm just funny. I'm just saying, they got a maturity with the, even though it's promiscuous, whore culture, whatever you want to call it, but they just mature about it over here. You know what I mean? That's it. Because the men over here are not wifing a woman with multiple baby daddies over here. It's just not happening. Italy, Italian men are not doing it. A woman can't do that shit in Italy. She better go join a monastery. She done. For the streets. She's for the nunnery. She out of here. She ain't getting nothing. She better work it out. She better take her ass.
I don't know what you're talking about. Derek Jackson said baby mamas are for grown men, nigga.
Anybody gonna say it's slip ass right here? They mom's ass speak.
Black women got it made in America because if they do go through that process, because we're good dudes, man. Black men have been the number one stepdad since the plantation.
Facts.
Took care of the masses, baby. And there's been so many men who stepped in and took care of other men's children throughout the decades. Even with the fall, even we fell apart in the 70s and 80s. There was still a lot of stepdads out there, and fuck the thing about the women messed up. Well, this is what the women messed up. They never gave black men credit for that. Instead, they gave black men credit for everything negative, and that was. I think that's the game up. You know what I mean? That's really
they became very entitled. Like me and my kids are a package deal. Now I ain't never tell a brother he was wrong for wanting his own family. I ain't never say that. You know what I mean? So.
But if a man likes a good woman and he steps in, man. I ain't mad at that neither if that's his choice. If she's a good woman, right? Because what if she's coming off a long-term relationship, marriage, right? It just is what it is. Or she had him young. She was 16, 17, and she had a kid. You know what I mean? And you gonna punish her for the rest of her life. And she turned around, got her shit together, got a good job, she acting right. You know what I mean? And she cool people. It's just okay, fine. You know what I mean? If she's good people, because there's a lot of single women out here with no kids who are horrible. I mean, I'm talking about
Oh yeah,
savage.
trust me,
Yeah.
I know all
Yeah.
about that.
And savage. And if they get pregnant, they gonna just kill the motherfucker, and they gonna keep it moving. They got the hot girl summer coming up, and they get pregnant, and they find they're pregnant in April. They're going straight to the goddamn to the hitman. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to the chop shop.
Yeah, they ain't messing up their beach body. You understand what I'm saying? So that's treacherous too. So so I'm not gonna condemn a woman for being young and making a mistake. Now, if she got 2, 3, 4 baby daddies, she done. You know what I mean? Like I'm on Italian. I'm on Italian time. Yeah, I'm on the Italian time zone now. What's the time in Italy? That's where I'm at. You know what I mean? How many baby daddies you got? 2? How many kids? Oh hell no! And you how many one night stands you had? I'm on Italian time, baby. I can't hear you.
Right. Yeah.
But
I don't blame you.
We don't do that. We wife them. Look. I said this other night on a live stream. Mary, check this out. All those women who lined up to have babies by Future, all 8 baby mamas, 6 of them that are not probably messing with him or messing off and on. They got boyfriends right now.
Right.
There's dudes that are still lined up and wife him, knowing that this woman gave her womb to him on some slut shit for some money shit. You know what I mean? And God knows what she did with him, but cats are still, you know what I'm saying? They don't care.
Right.
Because black men have no standards. We have no standards.
Yeah, exactly.
That's our fault overall. And a lot of women don't want to hear this, but let's be honest. It is inherently, not inherent, I would say, it is mandatory that the black ADOS man in America should be moving and running out in these streets in this soil to have no standards of not only himself but what he wants out of his woman. You get me? And let's be honest, when we have conversations, they always talk about how women have standards, either unrealistic or not. You never hear somebody say, you men need to have some proper standards. You rarely hear him talk about it because if men really straight up have some standards, majority of you women will not get wiped up. Shit, most of you will just get dick and balls and keep it pushing. You get me?
Yeah.
And that's how it lays out. But Art laid a question here. Do you think Cardi B and Meg gave enough tutorials where legalization could be considered graduation? I don't know. I don't watch those bitches. So I don't really know if they do.
Oh, it's crazy. That's funny.
Most of those women under 30, you know what I'm saying? I tell most women, if you take advice from any woman under 30, you are mentally ill. You are sick as fuck.
That's hilarious, man.
Yeah.
But it's happening anyway. I mean, it's like, why are we playing with it, man? And you got all those tricks down in Atlanta right now, making it rain. You can't even see the floor. You know what I mean? Just to touch the butt and have one shaking in your face. Like this, look, man, we could talk about, whore culture, but we got dog culture too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't see myself taking $1,000 out, or shit, or let alone 10,000 to throw at some females because they shaking tits and ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've been to strip clubs when I was young, when I was in my teens, like early 20s. Because what you do when cats go out, especially in the military, we go out, whatever, hang out. But I never got addicted to it. You know what I mean? And so I can count on 2 hands how many times I've been to a strip club in my life. Right. And most of them were in my early 20s when it was the thing to do, especially when we was out in Georgia. But I was in there recycling the same $11 though. Okay. All right. So $11 go out. Somebody turn their neck. I pick some off the floor, put it back. You know what I mean? I'm a recycler. You know what I mean? I believe in keeping the earth safe and clean. So when I go to the club, it's Earth Day.
For real, yeah. I think I been to the strip club once or twice when I was like in my you right, early 20s. I ain't been since then. Just not something I'm into. You know what I mean? That's just like how these cats be like paying all that money on OnlyFans. Like that's some simp sucker shit right there. Especially when they got porn.
It's free.
Yeah, like why would I do that?
Everything's free, and that's what I'm thinking. That they said this one white chick that's just turned 18 March called that was that bad chick, that white chick. She made, they said $1 million in 6 hours. It makes me wonder how many underage or aged black males gave that money to that chick? 'Cause I know there's some Caucasian, but I know it's most niggas gave that money to that bitch.
I don't know if it's mostly black, but I know a lot of blacks did. I mean, we gotta stop beating on black people too much. There's a
Mhm.
lot of white boys and Asian dudes and
Yeah.
white, and some Hispanic dudes who ain't getting ass neither. I mean, and they sitting back, and I want to see, and
Right.
they're going to go in a
Yeah.
little room and and you
Hmm.
know, and they got a PhD in jerking off. You know what I mean? They
Oh
got
yeah.
PhDs in masturbation. They will teach you about, nah, man, you got to do it this way. They'll
Right.
teach you about, like, damn, man, y'all motherfuckers got to make this shit a science. Busting a
Hmm.
nut, yeah, I turned a busting nut into a ceremony.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I turned busting a nut into a convention, man.
Hmm.
Real
You know what I
talk.
mean? But we got some strong to the bone incels out there. Remember, Comic Con was started by the nerds and the incels. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
You
Yeah.
know, the outcasts. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And now they're upset because Comic Con is brung in now the girls, which brung in some of the hot boys, and now the girls are dressing up in cosplay, and now some of the dudes who don't really care about anime or comic books are showing up because they got tight bodies, and they show up in cosplay because they see the women there in cosplay. They come in the feed, they
Right.
praying, they going where the meat's at.
Right.
So
Yep.
now they mad again, and they want to make changes to cosplay. No bullshit. You
Hmm.
know, look at this. Look into it. It's never going to stop.
Yeah. I'm gonna look
It's never
into
going to end
that.
the story. So they need to go ahead and legalize it because that's the only way most men, let's be honest, in their life would ever touch a bad chick,
Wow, that's crazy.
let alone smash one. You understand me?
Yeah. Man, that's crazy when you put it like that.
That's
Yeah.
real talk. I mean, think about it, man. There's dudes who, were in high school and they wanted to get with the pretty girl, but that girl wasn't trying to hear it. You know what I mean? She was
Mm.
getting chosen by the football players, the basketball players, the hot boy. You know what I mean? She just
Yeah.
had too many options at the other level, and she didn't get what she wanted. Then she had, the dudes who just graduated, the older dudes, 19, 20-year-old dudes hollering out when she's 16, 17, 18. So you couldn't get near it. You couldn't get near it.
Right.
And then you come out to the world, and the only way you get close to it is if you become you transform from ugly duckling into a swan, right? Those guys that were nerdy looking and then they hit the gym. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And then or you run into some money,
Right.
but then you're just being used, right? So look at the
Hmm.
athletes
For a
and the
lick. For a lick. And you hear
yeah,
some of these dudes in space say that's fine, they could be used to say, what? But you guys
yeah.
shit people say about getting your mouthpiece, getting something right. They don't want to do that. And I
Well,
say
you
you
don't
should
have to. That's what I'm saying. If you were like, take an NBA player, right? That was
yeah.
a star from junior high. Just fuck it, just high school. Never had to holler at girls. Girls just came his way because he was a star athlete. Same thing happened to him in college. Remember that movie by Spike Lee with Denzel Washington and Ray Allen? You know what I mean?
Yeah. He got game.
Yeah. They
Nah,
waiting
he
for,
got game.
he got game. Yeah, they waiting for you went to college. There's no game involved. You just a big man on campus automatically. That's complete bullshit to what we call rites of passage. That's men, right? You got to
Hmm.
earn those stripes in the real regular man. So it's artificial. Then you get your ass to the league and you mess with these real pros. You messing with the wives like Kenny Smith's ex-wife or Kevin Garnett's ex-wife, backdoor hoes, chicks
Mhm.
that's long-term hoeing. You understand me?
Mhm.
Women
Yeah.
who want to go out there and wife you, marry you, have your kids, and then divorce you before she's 38.
Hey, but that come with a territory, especially with Kevin. Imagine you mentioned Kevin Garnett with his wife. The minute he stopped playing basketball, all the problem come from
All the
that.
problems start. Yeah, that's
And
what it
you know
always
what's funny? To be fair, honest, I'm gonna tell you something. That bitch was fucking on the low, regardless. So she's waiting to this dude.
is.
No, she is. So I
Probably.
feel
I believe.
after a while, she said, "I'm around this dude. It's not really. I'm really attracted to
You ever
his
seen Kenny Smith's ex-wife?
Okay, who?
Kenny Smith, and she was a single mom when she came to him.
Oh wow.
But she's fine as hell. But I saw her, being Vanna White, playing Vanna White on his. She came to Inside NBA and she was like taking. They were doing like a draft and she was pulling the names on the board and put names under certain people for the draft.
Yep.
And you sitting there, and she had that skimpy dress on, and she's doing the sashaying and all that in front of Shaq and Charles and Ernie. I'm like, she's doing this in
Oh,
front of his co-workers. So when I saw that, I said, "Oh, Kenny's a simp, or he knows
oh,
what time it is. He's like, fuck it, I'm gonna let it just be a hoe, because this time has ran out. It was only an arrangement anyway. I got kids out of her. It just is what it is. There's a lot of dudes that's like that too. They understand the game and they take what they can get and they move on. But
man.
she took that paper with her, and she got his genetics. She got kids. Her kids got a father. She got a lot out of it. It was transactional. And now she's moving on with the rest of her life. And this is how it goes for a lot of these athletes. This is real shit.
I see. Damn.
Yeah, it's a cold game. I call it back. It's called backdoor hoeing. Next any pimp. You know, So this. That's what I'm saying. Make it legal so these cats could get a piece.
They call it a day, man.
They call it a day, yeah, so they can, they don't have to feel like they got to marry and fall in line and get caught up in some woman's game or some woman's agenda just to get a nice woman, or they go out here and they get success, and then now I got a beautiful woman on me, and forgetting the fact that they're only there because you're successful.
Wow.
You know what I mean? They forgetting that fact. You know what I mean? It's just the way it goes, man. So I'm all for it. I think, there's some women who are natural hoes. It's just what they were. You knew the hell they were when in junior high. They were just too advanced. It just oozed out their pores. Everything with them was sexual. You know what I mean? It's like, God damn. You know what I'm saying? We all know those, but that's not the norm. I think the rest of the women have been cultivated into this behavior. You know what I mean? Of usury, and it's part of the culture. And I think legalizing prostitution would kind of break that shit up.
And not only will it'll break it up, but it's now gonna. And let's be fair and honest, because a lot of women feel they got very much a lot of empowerment in some certain communities. Then now, if it's legal, that means now a man that's going to waste time with you it has to be something transactional. You know what I'm saying? It's not like in Europe where you take somebody out and you spend some money and eventually you might eventually hit it. Here in the West, I hear about this dinner horn, which is something new, didn't know exists. But let's say this is the point. It's going to make you women going to start change how you're going to maneuver in these streets. You get me? Especially if you're that type of woman that's like to take men's money and don't get enough in return. You know what I'm saying? They have to really invest more money. You know what I'm saying? And I feel what's going to happen, and this is me, Jay Sean, there's still going to be some form of simpery, but it's going to be reduced in half. You get me?
Mm-hmm.
And
I wish it was here right now.
The greatest fear right now for a lot of feminists that's pushing back at it. Go ahead.
I wish it was here right now was Eric Ingram, because he's up in Finland.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been told Norwegian women and Finnish women are like they're actually pure feminists. Like if you out with them and you ask to pay for them, they get offended. No, I got it. You know what I mean?
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Independent, yeah, really independent. The women in America are capping. All right, they want independence when it benefits them, but they still want you. It's like I always say, this is my words, and it might sound a little crass, but sometimes you got to be that way. She wants you to be a brand new nigga. She wants you to be the old school nigga when she being a brand new bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and that's what they want you to do in this game. So a lot of men have to learn to either do two things: either reinvent ourselves as men, to the new normal, because women are not going to really go back, to being barefoot and pregnant. That's not going to happen. All right, they got a taste of freedom. They just got to navigate and figure out what part they play in society and what they owe society as women, right? So if we're gonna have civility and have families, what part they're gonna play in that? All right, they're gonna have hot girl summers. How the fuck does that help? You know what I'm saying? The Constitution of Families. You know what I mean? Having multiple abortions, double digit. How does that constitute Sex and the City lifestyles? How does that constitute family? You know what I mean? Like, so what's your part in this? You know what I mean? Because the men are still got the dams running, the electricity's on, trash is being picked up, landfills are being maintained. I mean, the men are doing their job as far as holding on to infrastructure. Military weapons are being upgraded. Ships are being built. I mean, cruise ships, battleships. I mean, we can sit here all night and talk about what the men are doing as far as their duty and their jobs in society. But as the mothers in our society, they have to make a choice. They have to make a choice.
They drop the ball.
And that's what I'm saying. We got to help them make that choice. If you keep helping them make the wrong choice, again, going having standards, men being out here being dogs, right? You can't be mad at women for being hoes or indulging in whore culture and hot girl summer if you talking about bending them over the couch and pumping and dumping. That don't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I don't really advocate certain behaviors that men are already taking already, to be fair, because it doesn't benefit in the long run. But let's be honest, you can't tell men nothing nowadays because they feel say it's my world. You know what I'm saying? Screw these hoes. They never. I feel.
You know what though? Chaos is bullshit. It's all cap with them too. They're not saying it's my world. They're saying it's my turn, and that's vindictive and effeminate. Okay, we're not supposed to be vindictive and effeminate. It's not our turn. We're supposed to do our jobs, but we're also supposed to do our jobs and hold people accountable. What I mean is, knock off the sucker shit. I'm not a sucker. You don't get to slurp up the whole basketball team, the football team, and then get me to be your husband. That isn't how this. No. Shut it down. But a lot of men can't shut it down because they low key follow women anyway. They're lying. You know what I mean? They're part of the so-called granocracy.
Exactly. That's my whole point. If
G would come over here right now and open her legs right now, half these niggas will suck a fart out her ass. You understand me?
But let's go further. They will. They'll make it rain. They'll make it rain.
They love talking about her, right? You know what I mean? And, and I don't like her neither. But it's like, because she's on some divesting bullshit. I don't know what she's talking about. But the bottom line is, you could talk about her, but I know if she opened her legs to half these motherfuckers over here, they'll hit it.
Yeah, like this, and that's why I tell them, man, look, like I understand where the society's at, and that's why I let their ass know. Ain't none of y'all niggas more patriarchal than me. How the fuck I can do it, but y'all can't? But the thing is they want to engage in the fuckery, but then when it's time for them, then they want to they want a nice stable of women that still look good, still a bad bitch, got the Meg Thee Stallion look, but they want her to have the June Cleaver mentality, and it don't fucking work like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You gotta stop that. You gotta stop validating the fucked up behavior out the women. It's supply on demand. Like, why you think these women running around here with 25?
You breaking up, Mary?
Yeah, you got to repeat your sentence.
Where's the value on? Look, men.
Now, what you say, Mary? You said what these men running here doing?
Y'all hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you now.
I said the reason why these women run around here getting these fake hydrogel asses, because that's where men put the value at. Like, look, men the ones who said they want the sex as fast as they could get it, as easy as they could get it, as much as they could get it. So the women capitulate. The women capitulate. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's why I tell them, well, if you want something different, then you got to shift the culture. You got to shift your value system as men. They don't want to hear that though. They want to engage. They want to engage in the fuckery too, and then they want, like the June Cleaver type wife. But like if you have a population of hypersexed, oversexed men, who you think who they gonna be having sex with? They're gonna be having sex with the fucking women. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like that's. If you want to know why they got all these hoes running around here, it's because niggas like hoes. It goes back to your standards as men, and they'll try and make it like,
the only person. That's the only person gonna give you a one night stand is a hoe.
Yeah,
that's it. I
mean, they'll spend all types of money on Lucario Bad Boy the dating game shit. They'll spend all types of money on that so they can learn how to just get in women's pants. Like, and I'm like, well, how you gonna be critical of the culture? But really, what it is, because you feel like you're losing out. You losing at the game, so you fucking mad because you're losing. You know what I'm saying? But if they was the ones if they was the jawline dude or the dude with the je ne sais quoi who was getting all the easy ass, they wouldn't be saying nothing, man. That's why I don't be wanting to hear that shit. That's why I don't be wanting to hear it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's a lot of hypocrisy to go around, man. And I think when I preach like to the brothers, like when I talk to the brothers, Chaos, you know this about me. You know, I've said it many times, Chaos. I'm a knuckle dragging patriarch. But the main component to patriarchy, if you really are a patriarch, is male accountability. You can't sleep with another man's wife in Islam.
Oh no,
You do
you
that
get
shit.
hands like you
Oh
get
yeah,
hands.
you can't touch a woman from another man's family in Saudi Arabia. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You held
Yep.
accountable. You got to hold
Yep.
the men can't be loose and fast and do whatever. So like when I found out he was doing porn, I was like, hold up, this nigga was just out here talking about Sharia law. They were making moral arguments against black women, and a lot of they were making moral arguments against black female fuckery, which I agree with a lot of them. But then you doing something immoral. No, I can't even say that because you know if you're getting your money, you're getting your money. But what's the difference between her getting the money, how she's getting her money? If she chooses to use her womb to get her money, if she chooses to shake down her baby daddy for her money, it's all immoral. She's getting her money, right?
Right, exactly. And that's what I be talking about with their ass. That's why I'm going to hear that shit. And that's why I be telling them, see what it is they don't want the moral weight of responsibility that comes with manhood. And what it is, they're trying to run this reverse psychology where they the ones taking the masculine position and I'm the feminist. Man, get the fuck out of here, man. Look,
They
men
think
don't follow
masculinity is doing what I say and not as I do. That's what
yeah,
masculinity is. Yeah, and it's not.
yeah, no, you set the standard and you lead by example. So how the fuck you gonna be hard on a woman for doing the shit and you doing it too and doing it worse and want to do it more? You see what I'm saying? That's why I be like, man, y'all get out of here. That's why I don't be wanting to hear that, man. I don't be wanting to hear that because I know that's what they on. I know that's what they on. So that's why I don't be wanting to hear it. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you look at that situation with Drake when Drake slept with old boy fiance? They think that's some player shit, some pimp shit. So they want to talk about how the women been socialized and conditioned, but they don't want to talk about how they've been socialized and conditioned. And I'm gonna tell you right now, like if you was to rise up and obtain power and you wanted to establish a black nation or a black state, you're not gonna have the pushback from the women. It's gonna be the pushback from these motherfucking men.
Yeah, they don't want to fall in line.
It's gonna be the pushback from them, man. I'm telling you, they're gonna be the main ones who ain't gonna be with it because they feel like, oh man, I know already, man. I know.
Yeah, they want to do what they want to do, and they understand. You know, one of the key components to manhood is brotherhood, and the highest form of brotherhood is order. There's no order.
Yeah.
That's why every time there's a brotherhood that's formed amongst any group, they create a secret society or some type of club. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they have rules and regulations and bylaws. That's all order.
Yeah. La Costa Nostra. You know what
The
I'm
opposite
saying?
of his name. The other dude on the panel named Chaos. Opposite.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? The opposite of chaos is order. You know what I mean? So, and so they want to participate in chaos and then at the same time call the chaos out. And the same thing with the women. The women are hypocritical as shit. I don't even argue women because women have nothing to stand on. Black women, their womanhood is in the fucking toilet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I don't even engage in any real arguments. I'll have a conversation every now and then, especially for an audience. You know what I mean? Just to get my points across. You know what I mean? But as far as me yelling and having a real heated argument with them, for what?
Yeah.
I mean, for what? I mean, for what? You don't see how women are behaving? How you gonna sit here and criticize the men? You supposed to be talking about y'all. They take care of the women. We take care of the men. How about that?
That's really how it's supposed to be. That's really what you would call egalitarianism. That's why I be telling them their asses don't understand matriarchy and patriarchy because men order and stratify men and women order and stratify women. You know what I'm saying? But you got this is what you have. You have this nothing but a bunch of disorder, chaos, leisure, comfort, complacency, and what it is everybody wants something for nothing, and they want it both ways. That's what I've been saying about their ass. When I realized that's why I ran them women up off my channel because I realized they was full of shit. They just talking
nonsense. I mean, it's like I don't understand how you say you want protection. It's like our brother Frank from A View from a Man Cave said. I can't be your protector and I can't be your shield and your target at the same time, sister. Right. And if I'm your leader and your protector, you're not supposed to talk to me a certain way. And if I'm supposed to be a protector, you can't be against patriarchy. Right. Because if you're talking about the man, if you are a female and I need to be in my effeminate nature, that means and you want to fall back while men to protect and lead. That's patriarchy, sweetheart.
Right. But see, this is the thing, and this is why I spend so much time talking about it, because I understand when we making these arguments about patriarchy and matriarchy with a lot of these these individuals, they don't know what the fuck it is. They going by this white boy and white woman bullshit. See, because what would happen, white men would go like white men would run around and throw their weight around on the white women and talk shit and be like, chauvinistic. See, they think a lot of these cats think chauvinism is being patriarchal, and that's what the women think. But that's what I be trying to tell them. Like, nah, what the women saying they want, that's what patriarchy really is the men being out front and leading. But at the same time, while you doing that, you don't throw that weight around, because that's like being it's called people skills. That's basically what I'm saying. You got to have people skills. You got to be able to manage a group of women that you're dealing with, and you can't do that if you constantly throwing shit up in their face about how you over them. That shit ain't gonna work, because eventually they're gonna start feeling some type of fucking way, and you can't say they're wrong for feeling some type of way, because that's just natural. That's like if you working up under somebody and they're your superior, but every day they gotta let it be known they're your superior. Then eventually you're gonna start being like, fuck this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? That's how you're gonna feel. And that's what white men would do. You see what I'm saying?
Because that comes from their culture. See, exactly. Patriarchy is patriarchy. Patriarchy doesn't have a color or a culture to it. It just means what it means. How it's carried out is based on the culture of the people that's involved in whatever construct you're dealing with. So if you're dealing with a matriarchy, that matriarchy is going to be a form of matriarchy that comes from its culture. Patriarchy is going to be a form of patriarchy that comes from its culture, right? So if you're looking at white men, you're talking about a serf culture of white nationalism, white supremacy. That's their culture, and it's been like that since the days of Rome,
right?
And that's their culture. And I mean, so anything
that's
they
why I
do,
trying to tell them what they don't want. Oh, go ahead.
I'm not saying anything they do. It was like capitalism. Capitalism is fine, but it's going to be their form of capitalism. You know what I mean? Patriarchy is fine, but it's going to be their form of patriarchy. You know what I mean? You know, socialism will be okay, but it's going to be their form of socialism. It's going to be carried out in the way that culture. You know what I mean? It's going to be carried. It's going to be expressed in the form of their culture. You know what I mean? So it's so whether how fair they are, how punitive they are, how uncivil they are, how unjust they are, that's how the society is going to be. It has nothing to do with the construct. It's how the culture is.
Right. Like think about this. It's like, what you have with, the founding documents of the Constitution.
Are you breaking up, Amiri?
I'm still, can y'all hear me now? I'm still breaking up.
Yeah, you're good now. Know what you're saying?
Okay. Yeah, and I was saying, if you look at the founding documents of America, the Constitution, where they say, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. And y'all know the rest, right? Right. And what they'll try and pretend is that, like Western civilization is the beginning of civilization, all this other shit. You didn't have these concepts in Eastern cultures or in African cultures. It's bullshit. What it was those people didn't need to write that shit down, because what's understood don't need to be explained. So the reason why this savage got to write it down and put it in a document, because he just doesn't see these things. Like, he has to have it written down so he can understand that. But in these other Eastern cultures, go ahead.
Now, Mary, but you made a great point. It's great words. The Constitution is beautiful, right? What was the reality of it? It was only for them, because that's
exactly.
All right, it had nothing to do with the words. It was, at the end of the day, the Constitution was going to be executed based on their culture.
That's that savage shit.
All that.
You know what I'm saying? Coming from those Caucasus Mountains and those caves and shit, man. Europe is a much harsher environment than Africa. You know what I mean? It's so that's where that shit come from, that reptilian brain bullshit.
You don't understand European history. European history is brutal. They talk about the Renaissance era. The Renaissance is when they came out of the so-called darkness, and then they went out and really created darkness for the rest of the world. But basically what happens that they came to a meeting of minds, the monarchs, the barons, and the church. They got things, even though they were still fighting with each other. There was more competition for resources and dominance, but then there was nothing else to dominate in Europe, so they started colonizing the world. That was after the Renaissance. But what happened before the Renaissance? There was something called the Dark Ages. And the Dark Ages is when they were punishing their people and getting them in line. You know what I mean? So you couldn't practice anything besides Christianity. You practice anything outside of Christianity, you got burned at the stake. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yep.
They were pushing all that shit out. To the point where it got, well, because of the fighting in Europe, they started consolidating the religion. So now you have the 12 days of Christmas, which is the 12 days of Saturnalia. Now you have Easter, which is Esther. You know what I mean? They started consolidating and compromising with their pagan religions and putting it inside Christianity. You know what I mean? So, that's what people don't understand about European Christianity. And why it's the way why it's formed the way it is. You know what I mean? They took an African religion, remixed it, and then they infused it with their own, pagan cultures. You know what I mean? Traditions. So, and that was to keep the people happy. And they showed this in the show called there was a show on Showtime called The Borgias. And if you haven't seen this show, I invite you to go see it. And if you don't got time to watch all 3 or 4 seasons, at least watch the first 2 episodes of season 2. All right, and you're gonna be like, God damn, they were putting all. The star of the show is Jeremy Irons. You know what Jeremy Irons is. If you don't know who he is, if you don't remember who he is, he was the bad guy, in Die Hard 3 with Samuel Jackson. He was the bad guy in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so anyway, it's a great show called The Borgias, and they put a lot of game on the screen. I couldn't believe. I thought I was about to get killed watching that movie. I mean, not watching that show. I'm like, am I about to get assassinated watching this? They was showing all the business of early Christianity and how they created certain holidays, and even the mantra of Mary, how they came from ISIS, and they put all that shit in the show. It's The Borgias it's about the Borgia Pope, a papal family, a corrupt papal family, back in the early 1600s. Man, real good show, good show. Guys must see TV. But anyway, I digress. My point is, they know what their culture is over here. Over here in Europe, they don't pack churches every Sunday because they have a religious tax over here. So they don't need tithes. All right. So people pay taxes, to their government, and they pay a religious tax, and those taxes keep the churches open. So even though these bells be going off every Sunday, these cathedrals and these churches over here empty. You understand? It empty. I mean, let's say have mass or something like that, but they don't go to church like that over here. It's not like Negroes in America. You know what I mean? It's not like that at all over here. They off into their other stuff, and there's been a rise of these old traditions and festivals, and that's what they get. They come out about. They come out for these old festivals, and praising old gods and old folktale, and they get dressed up and get drunk. And have a great time. It's fun. I ain't gonna lie, but I do see it for what it is.
Okay. We have another person on the panel, Shatterstar Actual. Can you hear me? Shatter, can you hear me?
Yeah, you gotta mute yourself, bro.
Yeah.
Maybe he's having signal problems too. Yeah, Mary says he's having a bad signal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I would say this.
Yeah, this stream y'all don't work well on phones, Chaos.
Yeah.
I noticed that.
I guess, yeah. Okay. Neo, the StreamYard's link, I'll have you come up for a little bit. I'm soon wind it down a little bit. Well, I'll say this. Way how it's moving in regards to suggestions and solutions. The only thing I see moving forward is before anything is legalized in all states, they gotta lower the age consent, which they've been talking about now for the last few years now.
You talking consensual sex?
No, just the age consent, because I remember Mr. Igmore said that the age consent in America was 12.
You get me? What? For what?
That's what he said all across the board, but we all know that people that cannot consent to sex until like 16, 17, or 18, and all 30 states in America.
Most states are 16.
16 and others 17, 18. So
there's some that are 14, but it's only up to a certain age. Like the age of consent is 14 in a couple of states, but only for those 18 for a partner 18 up to 18 years old. Anything over 18 is not for sale.
Yeah, hold on. Your shadow, you said something? Hello?
Yo, can you hear me now?
Yeah, man, you coming in hot though. Yeah.
Yeah, here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, is that better?
Yeah, you go. There you go. Got you, boss.
Yeah.
Nino, I see you, Nino. What up, Jazzy?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, what's up with you guys, man? I just checking in, man, chiming in on the screen, man. I think y'all got some good points, man. I like what you saying, brother. Speaking on that religious tip, you know, like that bourgeois, that like Caesar Borgia. You know what I'm saying?
The Borgia Pope. His son was Cesar Borgia, which is the actual that's Jesus Christ, the white Jesus.
Right. Well, when Leonardo da Vinci, and then you had Michelangelo, when they was competing for that, like who was gonna be like the biggest artist of all time, and said, "Well, you're gonna draw me as Jesus." So the light, the blonde haired one, that was Leonardo da Vinci's one of the image of Jesus, and then the Michelangelo drew the more hippie looking one,
right?
The dirty one, You know what I'm saying? You did right on that one, brother.
That's Cesar Borgia. You're right. And Mary was what's her name? Alicia, Elia. I forgot her name. Borgia. This is a corrupt family, fam. Remember, Borgia, the Borgia Pope was the one who found those old Greek reliefs in a cave where they had like all the sex stuff on the wall, all the orgies and paintings and stuff, and he's the one that introduced that into Catholic art. Now when you look at the rotundas and you see all these naked babies and half naked men, and you know what I mean, that's an ode to old Greek culture. And the artists of that time, the ones that my brother's laying out, started painting those murals in the churches. It's some real deep shit, fam. Yeah, it's a real deep shit. And they show all of this in the movie. They show all of this in the show. Yeah, it's real deep stuff, man. You know.
Yeah, I was wondering, did y'all brothers see that story, man? I think Dennis Sperling was covering it over on his channel earlier, but I saw it myself because I'm in Houston, where it was a veteran, man. A brother lost his life, man, to some of the problems that I think that been going on, but it haven't been live streamed with Instagram. Some girl, he trying to break up these two black women, man, from fighting. And then some simp comes over there after she done lied to him and say the man and put his hands on her, come over and shoot the man, kill him, and rob him in front of 50 other black people. No one says a damn word.
Yeah, I saw that video. It's crazy.
That's just sickening to me, bro. Being from a military family, and seeing another veteran just be killed like that, and then they robbed him. They gonna rip there and rob the damn man after you kill him, and he in front of his house, and it's like, no one says a word. I'm like, man, bro, we got to expose some of this stuff, man. Like, we got to try to take that culture and flip it up, at least expose it. I don't know, it's gonna take a lot to flip it on his head, but at least.
Let me ask you a question, Shad. What would we do back in the day when we had a problem?
Man, first of all, me and my brother had this conversation. First of all, what we would do is we didn't have internet, right? We didn't have cell phones. We called it the nigga net, okay, for lack of a better word. You feel me? So it was like if someone was talking shit about you on the other side of town, they was gonna have to see you. Somebody at the barbershop was
you
gonna
had to see him. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. For the end of the day over with, your homeboys would be like, hey man, that dude said something about you, said something about him. Y'all finna meet up at the store. Y'all finna get it on. And we, ain't gonna be no jumping. It's finna get down, and y'all finna get down right now, or we gonna whoop your ass.
Just we handle it with our hands, man. I don't get none of this murder stuff, and this is a breakdown on what I was talking about earlier. But the patriarchy, the manhood, if we really believe in patriarchy, we have to have a code of conduct amongst the men. You have to. You have to. You can't have dudes out here killing over some scut bucket bitch. You know what I mean? That's the father of her child. Why would you even bring somebody to your father's house in front of his family to beat him up? So even just say, forget guns. You bring in another man to beat your baby father up. Just think about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you going to fight for her? You going to kill for her?
I tell you, man, it's a strange world we're living, man. The
crazy.
things we do for pussy. The things a man would do for pussy. You know what I'm saying?
So that's a breakdown. That's a complete breakdown in a code of conduct amongst men. We got to reconstitute that, where we hold each other accountable and we start raising men up to be strong-minded and stay out of situations. My fault, Shadow. I'll say it like this: if you were dating my baby mama, right? Or matter of fact, if I was dating your baby mama, put it that way. If I was dating your baby mama, at some point, if I get serious about her and I'm going to come around your child, I'm going to have a conversation with you.
No doubt. No doubt.
That's protocol.
Yeah, I mean, and that's crazy that we have to even say that, because it should be already understood of that. Because like my daughter, she stayed with her mother for quite a while. I met the boyfriend. Okay, was cool. Obviously, yeah, I'm gonna have to meet you, bro, because it's my daughter and you in the house, and I gotta know who I gotta come and kill if some shit pop out. So you know, I mean, that's a bad way to say it, but I'm serious. Like,
you know what? That's what I'm saying. But the reason I said it the way I did is because I would appreciate a brother doing. I would appreciate the father of the child of the woman I'm dating do that. But the truth of the matter is me stepping in that situation, right? And I'm taking this woman seriously. We got something going on, but she got a kid by you. I'm supposed to come to you first. I'm supposed to hey, yo, I need to talk to you. I need to talk to your baby daddy. I need to hook up that meat. Tell we can meet at the mall. So I want to chop it up with him. Why you want to? Because I said so.
Yeah, and that eliminates a lot of bullshit, because a lot of times what happens is the woman tries to go back and forth. If we don't have this conversation, then the woman sits here and uses the men against each other.
Right? Yeah. For our own pride, for our own ego. You know what I mean? Yeah. So and then if y'all in that situation, y'all in a fucking trick bag.
Actually, she'll use a form of toxic femininity to say, "Oh, he did me something. You're not a real man. Can you handle that?" And that's why a lot of brothers get killed. And I went for this, but let's be honest. I remember what the brother Edward just said. He said a lot of women love to see when black men fight and commit serious violence each other, in regards in front of her. It turns her on to see black men in a ruthless aggression, and that's not really cool. I question that. It should be aggression only be a last resort in a man's mind. But because ISIS have been raised by mothers, they get in that feminine side, they not understand that logic, understand how to move and poise as being men. So now you move into like a reactionary mode, just like a bitch.
And shout out. And the reason why I say it's important is not only that, you know, as men, we show a certain level of conduct, right? It's also considering the child. You know what I mean? Why am I stepping into a situation and I've been around your child, met your child, delightful kid. I need to meet his pops, man. Especially if you active in his life. Like, I don't even get that. That don't even make sense to me. That is complete dysfunction. You know what I mean? And you know, we can sit here and blame the woman, and she has a lot to blame in it because she ain't shit bitch for even crafting this situation. That's an ain't shit woman. She should want peace and tranquility around her child, not drama.
I was looking at that one situation. I know that's a microcosm of a bigger problem. And just for that one video we saw with the man getting killed, how many other times videos that we didn't see of a man being
There was another one this week. Another one came out this week. You didn't see the one where the dude came at 6:30 in the morning to see his kid, and then the chick's boyfriend, the baby mama's boyfriend, came out. You know what I mean? And then, you know, try to fight him. And then he backs off, goes his car. Then they start following him out to his car. And she's following him out the car. So then her boyfriend start following him to the car. You know what I mean? And trying to punking the dude on camera. You know what I mean? You know, and there was another chick that's crying. Her boyfriend got killed. You know what I mean? She started hitting them, and she's like on a live crying. You know how I get crazy. I didn't mean for this to happen. You know what I mean? And then called the cops, and they chased him, and he got hit by a car and got killed right in front of her. Wow. All this drama, man. Like this, to me, this is what I'm saying, brothers. There's too much shit that we getting caught up in. There's too many webs we're getting caught up in. You know what I mean? Really? All because we refuse to have a brotherhood.
You know what I think too, though, bro? And I know this might sound real simplistic of a solution, but man, the music, bro. I mean, really, the music, bro. I know it sounds stupid, man.
No, it's not stupid. Man, it's part of the problem. Yeah.
Man, you remember back in the days? I'm gonna give you a song. I'm gonna give you a song that's gonna preach what I'm saying. Remember the song "Chicken Head"?
Yeah.
Okay. Remember
you talking 3 6 Mafia?
Yeah, remember Project Pat in the chat, right? You see how they was like, nowadays, like, yeah, it was chicken, like bald
boy,
head,
please,
and got no head,
bald head, scallywag.
Right. And then, she
Project
comes
Pat
in,
crazy as hell, man.
she's talking shit, like, to the dude, and then we get a chance as men with Project Pat being the pastor, he can respond back to you hoes. But now you got niggas up in here like on these songs, like, yeah, I'm gonna go get the bag and I'm gonna give you all the money. And any nigga that ain't got a bag and he a simp and I'm gonna give you all the money and yes. And then the bitch she's saying, yeah, I'm gonna fuck you and leave. Yeah, I'm gonna fuck you and leave. Or I'm gonna suck you, or you gonna give me some money and leave. I ain't even gonna fuck you. And niggas be like, they be on the song. I'm like, how? How, nigga? I wouldn't even dare feature. I don't give a fuck how many views they're gonna give me, bro. I would come out with the antithesis of that song. And we need that other song for men. We just need it. And like they're not getting promoted. I'm like, I'm finna get ready to start putting out some of these other songs, dog. And then
you're a musician, bro.
Yeah, I produce and I make
Oh, wait a minute. I know who you. I think I know who you are. We've been on the panel before. And Roger Report, I think.
Yeah, man. I did a couple junks, man. I did a couple junks. I did one for Jap, man. I used Pastor Gino. And I did one for Jap. He said he's gonna put a song out for it. If he does, y'all gonna laugh, man, because I took Pastor Gino, I sampled that shit and made a beat so hot. And if Jap gives some good lyrics on that shit, that'll be one. And like I say, we need to make some songs. I got a couple in my particular repertoire that I'm about to release. I'm just trying to.
I grew up both in New York and in Atlanta. So I'm a real hip hop head. Like New York style, because that's where it originated from. Brothers up there, they enunciate their words a little bit better. But I do respect down south rap. Like in the era of Jermaine Dupri, even all the way back to MC Shadi, if you already know who he is. I did my homework on that. MC Shadi, Kilo Ali out of Atlanta, Lil Jon, the East Side Boys, all those, guys, man, they really put out good records, but the classics come from New York. I still bump Guru, I still bump Mobb Deep, Getaway. They were talking about.
I'm from Brooklyn. Yeah, I'm from Brooklyn. Yeah, no doubt. And but don't forget the West Coast too. The West Coast.
Oh yeah, of course. Look. As
some classic joints. Yeah,
I've been out here for 8 years in California.
They were hard on a hoe in the West Coast. God damn.
Oh, yeah, man. If you would have put like imagine of some of my work, bro. If you just like combine a Pimp C with the 8-Ball MJG with some of the old school Goody Mob, you know what I'm saying, mixed up with a little Player Fly and Crime Boss, then you start to kind of realize, you know what I'm saying, the type of level I'll be on with as far as like that. And then even some 3-6 Mafia, some Project Pat, you just mix all that up in a gumbo, man, right there. And that's pretty much what you got with me, more on a conscious pimp level, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get it.
We used to call it back in the day, before it was called gangster rap. It was called reality rap. We were just talking about reality stuff, man. Whether it was NWA or Cool G Rap or, you know what I mean? It was reality rap.
Oh, that was real gangster rap. That was no reality. Reality is more Common and all them, which I love Common and most.
No, we called that conscious rap. Yeah, we called that conscious rap before it was conscious rap. But before we called reality rap, it was reality rap before they called it gangster rap. That's what I'm trying to say. If you go back and listen to the old records, they even called it even Scarface called the reality rap back then.
He was saying the same thing. He said, this is our reality. It ain't gangster rap. He said, we get some gangster type niggas. Yeah, but this is our reality.
The gangster rap started, that mantra started like when Drake broke away from NWA, and then it started becoming gangster rap. But then the media started calling it gangster rap.
Right.
But you know what though? It was always something about the West Coast. Out here it's totally different. It's just like North and South. The Southern, like LA rap is totally different from Oakland and Bay Area rap.
Right.
It's totally different, but that they're from the same place because of the dialect, how they talk, But the out here, I don't know, man. It's more of party, smoke weed, get high. But down in fucking LA, you know, they on some real gangster shit.
That murder mook music.
Yeah, they still the same.
Yeah.
Guys, I had to conclude today's stream session. I have attend some things. But like I said, this was very good. Normally, the 3 volumes, I didn't really open a panel for this one, but this was very informative, educational, and I got the outlook in regards to the topic I said for the first hour. So I'm very pleased. And shout out to Mr. Kev for sharing the stream on YouTube. For a short conclusion, any closing?
Mine's real quick. I just want to echo my brother Just Dre from Just Dre out in Japan. He introduced the articles of prostitution. Let's get it over with. All right, just introduce articles of prostitution. Let's clean this shit up. Let a hoe be a hoe. All right.
Hey, I chimed in on the topic late, but I'm gonna get off. But the Chaos, thank you for letting me up, man. You know, I wasn't gonna get up. You know, I like I said, I've been subscribed to your channel, but it just seemed like I could never catch you. And when we on other panels, when we on other panels together, I try not to disrespect nobody else's panel because some niggas still be hating. If you're a content, they don't want to mention your name. You're in the chat. I ain't gonna lie. A lot of people, they really like Kwafi. And you mentioned me. They don't, I guess why not? Why not? Why would I mention him? But anyway, I just want to tell you, I shouted out to you on my introduction trailer. So go look at it, man, and tell me what you think next time I see you.
Okay. Well, it'd be better. If anyway, leave a comment and I'll find it to the link to your channel or whatever. That would be more helpful.
Hey man, you got some good cameras, boy. This dude coming out. He coming out swinging, Chaos. I'm trying to.
You have to crawl before you walk. Still, you know how it goes. Still, with YouTube and podcasts is never easy. So if you go out the back with the camera on, so then you're far ahead of the game. Still, you know what I'm saying? So,
hey, I just want to tell y'all, man. Look, I'm finna go. I gotta go and knock this job. But look, man, I'm gonna go ready and put out I want to put out 4 fucking rebuttal songs to the top hot 4 slut anthems. Okay, I want to give the brother version, like something that me and I'm gonna start shooting some ideas y'all way. So man, look, Shatterstar Games, that's the channel. So if y'all got some ideas, bro, do not be scared. Come in that bitch, drop some shit, man. Hit me on my email. It's the same thing as my channel at gmail.com. Bro, I will work with anybody, any ideas.
Hey, drop your link in the back chat real quick so I can get it.
All right.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. See, I love collaborations like that because these are the kind of brothers that I fuck with. Real talk, a lot of cats are just not the same, but I panel, like I said, I'm often quiet because I've been took the conversation to a different level, but come at a place where we all can agree because I don't agree with what everybody else say or do or think. I just don't do that. But
you're a grown ass man. You're not supposed to. You supposed to have your own mind.
That's right. Hey, Jay Shine, like you said, you was checking out and you ain't being no part of no sphere. I'm almost there, bro. Almost. We all feel the same thing, but
it's time for me to move on, boss. I mean, I'll be around from time to time, but I gotta move on.
When you saw
all right, guys, I have to conclude this because
okay. Chaos, go with a condom, man. Let's let the man go. All right.
Y'all crazy.
You know how it goes. Yes. And for me now, for people that's listening, my solutions, moving forward with the prostitution situation. Like I said, first it's gonna be age consent. Second, I would say like everything with technology, people getting tagged up and they're using more digital interface, face recognitions, and also cell phones. I would say the transition is going to be even smoother. So when the people say how they're going to protect these women, they already got things laid out already. As you hear from Jay Sean earlier, they already got this covered in Europe. And America is the last place before everybody else knows how things work digitally. How I know? Because 10 years ago, they had the chip in the cards back in the early 2000s. We didn't get ours till 2010 era. So in regards to how they're going to regulate this, how they're going to protect young girls, they already got that covered. So there's no real deep solutions on how deep the rabbit hole goes in regards to how they're going to facilitate so that no one gets hurt and how they can make money and know who's who, who's not. They already got all that prepared. But nonetheless, saying this is Jerk Off Volume 4 Prostitution Edition. If you missed today's stream, please catch a replay of this either on podcast, YouTube, etc. And if you're not subscribed to Chaos Ray channel, please hit that red bell. Hit the top bell, not the middle bell, the top bell. You know when I go live or I do an upload on this channel. But other than that, you know where it is.